What is going on, everybody? I go by the name of Curry, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on SneakerPhetish. Stranger Things is back to kick off season 3 on Netflix this week on the 4th of July, and to celebrate, the show teamed up with Nike to come out with an amazing story with an amazing capsule collection behind it. So, without further ado, let's take a look. All right, now I really want to take my time going through the packaging because a lot of time, effort, and probably money was taken into consideration to build out the packaging, the story, and the entire rollout. Not to mention the retail installations that are in certain boutiques like Kith as well. Let's backtrack a little bit and actually talk about the original announcement that Nike made in order to introduce this collection in the first place. So if you have the sneakers app, you may have noticed on the app one day that there was a little video that played of what looked like a delivery truck. Now I looked at the date stamp on that video and it said it was in 1985. Now the delivery truck is seen leaving what looks like a warehouse, and the video is kind of fuzzy and it goes in and out. Well, Nike also released a big flyer that said lost shipment, please dial this number. If you guys are familiar with a lot of Nike's marketing from back in the day and even from more recently, they would use telephone numbers that you would call up to get certain information or certain clues or hints about an upcoming release. That being said, this was no different, but when you called up the number, what you actually heard was a conversation between a man and a woman. The man will go on to explain that he actually found the shipment of items from a previous order that the woman had made back in 1985. Now the woman would go on to say, oh, I haven't thought about those items. I totally forgot about that order, which I don't really know how you forget about an order for 30 years. So the gentleman ends the call by asking the woman if she's familiar with GPS coordinates. The woman says she is. The gentleman gives her GPS coordinates that actually map out to be downtown Los Angeles, which is where the first installation of this collection was. The gentleman gave the woman a time and a date that the items will be available and to be at that location on that date and time. And people that were out in Los Angeles actually were able to go down there at that time, and what they saw was a huge 18-wheeler truck that looked like it had been tipped over on its side and destroyed. The doors of the truck are all flung open, and what you see is a whole bunch of Nike boxes, some crushed up, some looking decent, that are pouring out of the back of the truck. And that's where the story begins for this collection. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with the Stranger Things show, I'll give you the 10-second synopsis. Basically, there's a big monster that escapes from a government facility that's trying to take over the world and destroy or kill anything in its path, and a team of kids are out to make sure that that does not happen. The kids are equipped with special powers that fight off some of the monsters while also trying to make sure that the monsters don't inhabit their own bodies. And this all takes place in Hawkins, Indiana. Now again, the show is set back in 1985. So in order to celebrate the show's 3rd season returning, Nike came out with 3 iconic silhouettes that were very popular back in the 80s and the 70s. But before we get into the shoe that we're looking at today, again, let's get into the packaging. Now, starting off here, you have a green old school Nike box. Green, of course, matching the colors of Hawkins High School. On the side of the box here, you see the logo with the mascot for Hawkins High, the high school that is set in Hawkins, Indiana for the show. You can also see on the side of the box across from the size label here, the Nike and Stranger Things co-branding. This is an officially co-branded product. And on the other side of the box, you see 1985 Stranger Things. If that's not enough cross-branding for you, you also get the branding on the inside of the box lid as well. Now, when you open the box, you don't get regular paper, you actually get this. A newspaper that's actually from Hawkins, Indiana, talking about the upcoming 4th of July events. Now, what's cool about this is that I actually thought it was like kind of a novelty paper. It didn't really have anything worth reading, but it actually has real articles that you can read as if you really lived in the town. It talks about the events that are coming up during the week, things that are happening in the community, parade prep, and how they got ready for it. It goes on and on and on. Boom. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Nike Blazer Mid Quick Strike Hawkins High. So as you guys can see, it's a standard Blazer Mid silhouette. Nothing really different or deconstructed about the silhouette in and of itself, but the color scheme, of course, matches the box and of course matches the color scheme of Hawkins High School and the Stranger Things the show. Now, most noticeably, you see the big orange swoosh that's made out of that really nice leather right there in the quarter panels on the lateral side of the shoe. Now, underneath that big swoosh, you got some really nice tumbled leather here, and I mean you guys can see just how soft this leather is here. Really nice stuff. Now, that leather also extends down into the toe box of the shoe as well. On the heel of the shoe, right at the top of the heel here, you see that green back paneling with that white Nike logo. And on the medial side of the shoe, this is actually where it gets a little more interesting. You've got the Hawkins High logo that's actually stitched into the medial side of the shoe, and where the big swoosh is on the lateral side, the swoosh is actually missing on the medial side of the shoe. Now, what you see in its place place is merely the stitching around the outline of the swoosh, but the swoosh itself is gone. On the tongue of the shoe, again, you get a green tag here against that really nice foam deconstructed tongue with the Nike and Stranger Things co-branding. On the back of the tongue, it actually says property of Hawkins High School Athletic Department. And on the insole of the shoe, you get the Nike and Stranger Things branding on the heel in the school colors with Tiger Pride going down the middle. Now, we don't get any extra laces with the shoe, but we do get these. With every shoe, you get a set of 3 enamel pins that you can put anywhere that you want. I usually put my pins on my hats that all have to do with either the Nike and Stranger Things collaboration itself or little pins that have to do with Hawkins, Indiana. So on my set on the Blazers here, you see I get the Nike and Stranger Things collaboration pin, I get the Hawkins High School pin, and I also get the Scoops Ahoy Ice Cream Parlor pin. And I'll take pins over extra laces any day because these are really dope. Now, there's also one more really cool thing about this shoe that I want to show you guys as well, but in order to do so, we got to cut out the lights. Boom. So as you can see, there's actually a little bit of 3M that's outlining the big swoosh on the lateral side of the shoe. I actually had to do a double take on these myself because at first when I was looking at it without any light on, I was thinking to myself, well, that silver underneath that orange swoosh looks a little bit like 3M. I wonder, and sure enough, we got some 3M on here. I always think a little bit deeper, and I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist with these shoes. Like every little piece has something thought out behind it. So I'm like, oh, well, maybe the shining of the 3M underneath the swoosh has something to do with the fact that the swoosh is missing on the other side of the shoe as well. Maybe it has something to do with the upside down world, and the lateral side of the shoe is the regular world. And then this side where the swoosh is missing is the upside down version of the world. Who knows? Let me know what your thoughts are about the sneaker down below. Last but not least, on the outsole of the shoe, nothing really fancy here, just the regular sail colored Blazer mid outsole. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the Blazer from the Nike and Stranger Things collaboration collection. Now, the Blazers, I believe, were a little bit more limited than the Tailwinds and the Cortezes. A lot of the places that were carrying those two models of shoes weren't carrying the Blazers. I only saw the Blazers, like I said earlier, at a handful of stores, and then of course on the Sneakers app, which is where I was able to get mine from. Personally, I think they did a fantastic job at rolling out this collection and making this collection in and of itself. Now, there's another collection that's more geared towards Independence Day that has a red, white, and blue themed pair of the exact same types of sneakers dropping later on this week. My 2 cents. We've been seeing a lot of collaborations lately, and it almost feels like you have to have a collaboration just to be able to sell a sneaker these days, even for a giant company like Nike. Now, some collaborations are big hits, some collaborations seem to be misses, but this one to me was a really solid winner. Now, the thing I probably like the most about this collection is that it allows people that are really huge fans of the show to be a part of it and to immerse themselves into it even more. And I think that's the thing that Nike is really trying to capitalize on this year is experiences. Now, unfortunately, those experiences cost a lot of money. And like I mentioned in a previous video, Nike has what they call a demand creation budget that they use to create big installations and big pop-up shops at different stores and to roll out collections like this. But there's an upside down part of that, a darker part of that, if you will, and that actually comes in the termination of a lot of small companies' contracts that we've been hearing about recently. If you follow sneaker news at all, you may have heard that there's a store called Premier that apparently very abruptly lost their Nike contract. Not only that, but Nike has been terminating contracts for more traditional brick and mortar stores and mom and pop shops for quite some years now, really dwindling down how many official contracts and wholesale accounts they have, partially to make sure that they can roll out their digital campaigns and to allocate more money for that. Now, it's really cool because, like I said, what you get as a result of that are some really cool experiences that immerse you into the shoes and into the stories that go behind the shoes. In the case of Stranger Things, like I said, I think that they hit this one out of the park. They did an amazing job rolling it out, from the video to the installation to the turned over trucks to all the different big pop-up shops that they've been having lately. They've been doing incredible. But if you're the owners of Premier, you don't really care that much about all the installations and pop-ups that Nike's been doing lately because you just lost your livelihood and possibly your family's livelihood. As Nike continues to be a bigger company, they have to balance between what's best for the company and its shareholders and what's best for its consumers as well. And unfortunately, it's trying to drive its consumers into coming into the 21st century by doing more things that are geared towards the digital age. Are we seeing the demise of brick and mortar stores? I guess time will tell. But in the meantime, at least we can enjoy things like this, big collaborations and amazing experiences that can make the sneaker buying experience that much richer. But enough of me talking about this sneaker and about all that other corporate stuff. Tell me what you guys think about the Stranger Things Blazer Mid down in the comments. Were you able to get your hands on these or another sneaker from the collection? Or did you pass on the collection altogether? Are you a fan of Stranger Things? And if you are, who's your favorite character? What do you like about the show? What do you not like? Or what are you looking forward to in season 3? Of course, while you're down in the comments, make sure that you click on that subscribe button so that we can welcome you into the SneakerPhetish family to make sure you don't miss out on any more heat that comes through like these, because I guarantee you, I got a lot more heat on the way. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on SneakerPhetish, taking a look at these with me, unboxing them with me for a couple of minutes. I go by the name of Kari. This is the Nike Blazer Mid in collaboration with Stranger Things. And until next time, I'm out.